You've tuned into the Bellingham Podcast for the week of February 17. Happy President's Day 2019. This is episode 111. From the city by the sea, I am AJ Barce.
And hail to the podcasting chief, I am Chris Powell. On this episode, we're having a conversation. Well, I am. We have a chance to interview one of the fine executive directors from a worthy Bellingham nonprofit here in town. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. This is the Bellingham Podcast.
Chris, I'm glad you're back from assignment. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing just fine, thank you. AJ, how about yourself?
Not bad. Enjoying the extended holiday weekend that we have here in the United States.
Yes, as we approach a 3-day weekend, it's not just a shopping holiday or a sleep-in holiday. This is where we get to honor the president's birthdays, I guess Washington and Lincoln, since they were both around February.
You are a wealth of random knowledge. I didn't know that.
It's like Cliff Claver from Cheers. Yeah, funny thing there, Nami. The President's Day was actually from the president. I'm just kidding. Pop quiz, AJ.
Ooh. Okay.
On this 3-day President's Holiday weekend, who is your favorite president in history?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, there's a few good ones in recent history, but I like to go all the way back to Thomas Jefferson.
Okay.
Just because from my background in education, there was a lot of strides that he did for our nation in just what we see as what was moving away from the schoolhouse education system and our bigger model. So tip of the hat to TJ.
I think I'm going to go with a tie between both Roosevelts.
Really?
Theodore Roosevelt.
Oh, yeah.
Because I really was a fan of his personality.
And the stash.
This guy, I want to keep the show clean, but he was really one bad mamma jamma.
Valid.
And I found that what he did to try to help with the national parks and our lands in the United States as things were expanding in the early teens.
Sure.
As he was president, that really, is a source of admiration that I have for him. Also with Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR. Faced with a really difficult time in life with the economy horribly swirling clockwise in the Northern Hemisphere, at least in our country. Here's a guy that led a country or enacted so many initiatives. We're gonna get a highway system built to be able to transport goods for the country. We're going to create all of these departments to try to get people to work, to try to get things up by the bootstraps. I admire the Roosevelts. And yes, of course, there's always a scandalous, other stuff like that, but whatever.
No. Like that aside, that's cool.
I think those are my two of my favorite presidents. So speaking of high-ranking officials, we
have the president on the show?
Not quite.
Oh, okay.
Not quite. In the past episodes on the Bellingham Podcast, AJ and I have been very thankful to have a voice. That our voice is heard by what used to be tens of people, but now it's actually grown significantly, and we appreciate all of you that are listening.
Thank you all.
Thank you all for listening. We admire the work that many people are doing in Bellingham and Whatcom County to help others.
And we also appreciate those in the community who step up and try different things and kind of push boundaries at times. And
so one of the things I really enjoy as far as trying something different is when people have conflict. Here's an idea that was brought up in the 90s around Bellingham to try to bring people together to reach an amicable resolution to conflict. And there is a nonprofit here in town called the Whatcom Dispute Resolution Center. They offer creative ways to approach conflict between family, between married couples, between kids and parents, between business associates. They've been around for quite some time, and the executive director of the WDRC is named Moonwater, and Miss Moonwater has been the executive director since 2005. She's been at the helm for 14 years. And I had the opportunity, I was privileged to be able to sit down with her recently and have an interview with her and to learn a little bit more about what is going on at the WDRC. Moonwater was 2017's Whatcom Women in Business Professional Woman of the Year.
Wow.
Due to her work with the WDRC. The WDRC, 5 years ago in 2014, was named Bellingham-Whatcom Chamber of Commerce's Nonprofit of the Year. they're the goods, according to the Bellingham-Whatcom Chamber of Commerce.
And us. They're also on the goods list.
Yes. She's also the lead instructor for the WDRC's 40-hour professional mediation training. She knows how to get people to reach amicable resolutions to disputes.
That's awesome.
She supervises a staff of 12 fabulous staff people that are way more calm and way more composed than I would ever be, because I fly off the handle at a moment's notice. I could probably learn a lot from what they have, from the skills they have. They serve thousands of people a year. And my wife and I believe in the WDRC's mission. I initially was introduced to them with a fundraiser that they have in the fall season at Boundary Bay, where they have a cribbage tournament. And growing up, my father and I always played cribbage, and I got really good at it. And
you are Captain Cribbage.
I'm Captain many things, but in this case, I was first introduced to who they are as a business here in town. Also, while I'm beating people at playing cribbage. So enough of my jibber jabber. Let's have a look at a conversation with the executive director of the Whatcom Dispute Resolution Center, Moonwater. So thank you for joining us on the Bellingham Podcast, Moonwater. We're very happy to have someone from a longtime nonprofit here in Bellingham on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
So the Whatcom Dispute Resolution Center has been around since 1992, if the website information serves me correctly. That's 27 years that y'all have been in business. For our listeners that may not be aware of the WDRC, can you share with us a little bit about how you and your staff serve Bellingham and Whatcom County?
Well, we operate with the mission of providing and promoting constructive and collaborative approaches to conflict, and we do that largely through the provision of mediation, facilitation, conflict coaching, training, community education, and even now supervised visitation. A lot of folks might not know what any of those terms are or what they're about. And so one of the ways that I also like to talk about what we do is that we're here to help people get along well and walk through the world and walk through Whatcom County in a way that works for them to build relationships and have healthy communication and conversation and be able to work through conflict in more productive ways. And so we're really here to help build those skill sets and then to offer some help in addressing some of the friction that comes up just through human interaction.
Understandable. That sounds great. Mm-hmm. Can you give us an example of maybe a misconception some people might think about involving the WDRC and your role in the community?
Sure. There's there's probably two that immediately come to mind. Mm-hmm. And the first one is, well, that place might not be for us, or that's a place to go to if there's a really major problem. And the reality is that we provide a real whole spectrum of services for anyone who's in need. And so we are an organization that's here for the community, and it is largely the services that we provide are largely provided by community members who are giving back to the community. And so we're here for families if parents and teens have a difficult conversation that they need to have. We're here for neighbors if they have a concern about a barking dog or a bright light shining in their window. We're here for businesses if they're having some workplace challenges with employees. We're here for our community at large. We're also here for our schools and our young people to help build skills and work with administrators and counselors, teachers and students within their classrooms to support them to have a healthy learning environment. So that's, I think, the biggest misconception is that it might not be for them. And I want folks to know that we are here for them, and we're here for small issues, and we're here for large issues, and we're here to help build skills, and we're here as a resource. And folks can call us and stop by at any time to learn more. I also think another misconception is what is mediation, and I think folks often think that it's a process where someone else is deciding an outcome for them, and that's not what we do in mediation. So what we do in mediation is to help people sit down in an informal but structured environment and help them talk through whatever conversation they need to have in a way that works for them, that allows them to leave here if they needed to reach some agreement, that they'd be leaving here with an agreement that they've arrived at themselves and that's going to work for them and stand up over time because of that. So I really want people to know that we are here for a broad spectrum of folks, and we're here to assist.
You definitely have covered a great cross-section of Whatcom County, not just families and people living next to others and businesses. That pretty much covers almost all of us.
Indeed it does.
Very good. So I remember seeing some information in my research about the WDRC saving a great deal of money for residents of Bellingham and Whatcom County in legal fees through that. Can you share a little bit about how you were able to save this county some money?
Sure. Yeah. So that happens in a couple of different ways, and one of the ways that I like to talk about some of the work that we do is the relationship that we have with the court system. Dispute resolution centers were created by the state legislature with the intention of providing an alternative to litigation. And so Whatcom County wanted the Dispute Resolution Center to exist, to be able to create an alternative for folks who wanted a more collaborative, less expensive, accessible way to resolve what otherwise might be a court case. And so we provide mediation services for folks who file a small claims case, for example. They can come to mediation and try to reach agreement before a judge would hear their case. And we provide mediation for superior court. So in Whatcom County, it's been 20 years now, actually. There's a local court rule that mandates mediation when there are contested issues in a dissolution, for example. So if folks are getting divorced and don't agree on a parenting plan or how their assets are going to be divided, Whatcom County Superior Court says try mediation first before a judge will hear your case.
Okay.
And so folks can come to the Dispute Resolution Center to have helpful conversations that assist them in sorting through what they need to arrive on what they need to arrive at agreement. And one of the ways that saves money to individuals is that it's a very efficient process. And so we schedule mediation sessions, and the mediation process is designed in such a way that it's really focused on specific problem solving and understanding what the interests are of people, but really having a focused, structured conversation. So people are able to reach agreements that work for them, that address the issues that brought them there, and they're able to do that in an effective way. And so that can save on really expensive, long, protracted legal disputes, for example. And it's not to say that folks don't involve attorneys when they come to the DRC, because that's okay if they want to bring their attorney. Many folks reach agreements at the DRC and then have those agreements reviewed by an attorney. And so it's a huge time saver, and people leave more satisfied and happier. And so we have families who might be going through what otherwise could be a very costly divorce process, able to more amicably, civilly resolve their disputes and save that precious money to be able to start a new life for themselves, or not leave their family in financial ruin because of the nature of the dispute they're experiencing. We also support the county and the courts by diverting cases out of the court. We provide tremendous amount of value in court dollars to the community and back to the courts. And so the courts are then able to use their time more efficiently for trials and other types of justice that they're responsible for, when so many of the court cases can be diverted to mediation and resolved successfully. We have an over 80% success rate in helping people reach agreement through mediation.
That's a pretty good percentage.
I think so.
It's a great way of describing how you're able to help out a lot of people who are in a really difficult time. This doesn't happen. I wouldn't think this happens a lot on a regular occurrence for a lot of people, and for these unique times that maybe a number of your clients may have. It's so nice to have a chance to be able to have a soft assistance in the whole process. I'm getting that feeling as I've gotten to do research and also see how things are working, and that's wonderful. So speaking of the stopping by, the DRC has just recently gone into some new digs, if you will.
We have indeed
a new location on Prospect Street. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And what other than a new location for people to come visit, what else is in store in 2019 for what you all are doing?
That's a great question. Right now, we're settling in. To be honest with you, it's been quite an exciting year to undergo a campaign for a permanent place for peace for Whatcom County. And with the outpouring of community support, we were able to acquire this wonderful building at 206 Prospect Street, and be able to settle into our new space. And so one of the things that our new space is allowing us to do is to have a larger training room. So we expect to, over time, start to build up the number of community trainings that we have available. We also now have an ADA accessible space for community groups to be able to have conversations within our walls. We have more mediation rooms and more conference rooms, so we're going to be able to serve more clients and more folks who are in need. All of our current programs are going strong, and as folks pay attention over time, I hope they'll continue to visit our website or come to our website, come to our open house, stop by the center, get to know us, know that we're here as a resource, and to stay tuned because there will be more trainings and opportunities coming up here for the public.
I did notice on the website that there are some conflict workshops in store in March coming up. And a ribbon cutting ceremony, and maybe in February. There are some conflict workshops in February and a ribbon cutting ceremony in March.
Yes.
So we'll have a link to that in our show notes for those that are interested around town. So I believe you've been the executive director of the Whatcom Dispute Resolution Center since 2005.
Correct.
So from your perspective, Ms. Moonwater, how has Bellingham changed over the past 14 years since you've been in this role, in your opinion?
That's an excellent question. We have grown a lot. We definitely have. Our population has increased.
That's evident.
One of the things that struck me is, and I have concurrently become more comfortable here. I mean, I moved here in 1999, and so I've been here for quite some time. But I've been surprised with struck by some of the growth that's happened. What was once maybe a quieter area has become much more vibrant and more. There's the advent of more commercial spaces throughout Bellingham and Whatcom County, and at the same time the preservation of beautiful green spaces. So I think that we're a community that's growing and trying to maintain what we all like about it so much.
Excellent. Yes.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, one of the topics that AJ and I discuss on the show are our favorite places in Whatcom County to dine and also to get away from it all. So I'm going to put you on the spot now.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Where, in your opinion, is the best place to get in Bellingham or Whatcom County to get a bite to eat?
To get a bite to eat. I love going to Boundary Bay Brewery. Not only are they a fabulous community partner, but they have wonderful beer and great food. They have an amazing chef there and team of folks cooking their delicious menu.
All right. Sounds great. And when the time comes when you need to get out of the office for a while, things, you've had one of those days or maybe one of those weeks, hypothetically, and you just want to get out and enjoy some of this natural beauty that you, around this area that you've alluded to, where do you go?
Where do I go? I actually live in unincorporated Whatcom County, and so one of my favorite things to do is to either go on a jog or a bike ride in my own sort of quasi neighborhood, and there's a spot I can go to that overlooks the water. I can get there, and then I also love going to Lake Padden and exploring around Lake Padden.
Oh yes, it's what is it, a 3-mile walk around? It's a big community spot, definitely with the beauty there.
Yeah.
Well, Ms. Moonwater, thank you so much for joining us on the show. It's great to learn a little bit more about the Whatcom Dispute Resolution Center and continued success in 2019.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So that was fun for me.
That was a killer interview, Chris.
It's great to see that there's so much work being done and so much that's on the horizon, especially with their new venue that they just moved into down there on Prospect Street. Best of luck to y'all. And my thanks to Miss Moonwater. of the Whatcom Dispute Resolution Center for dedicating her time, sacrificing some time to be able to sit down and talk with us on the show.
Yeah.
Should you all be interested in learning more about what the WDRC has in store, as we are approaching March, in the next month.
It doesn't look quite like March
well,
outside.
February, it's gonna get better. We have to have hope that the weather's going to get better. But in March 6th, the WDRC is going to have an open house and ribbon cutting ceremony for the new facility.
That's going to be cool.
It'll be a wonderful event, and you might see a familiar face or at least a familiar voice in attendance. Well, I want to be part of that. It's all good. Anyway, also during March, should you be a parent or should you be a teenager and have some difficulties at home, they have some parent-teen mediation training.
Oh, nice.
And so here's a way to be able to arm yourself with some skills that might help matters out at home. We have a link to their website in our show notes. Drink. And they have on their website, they have an online calendar that you can pick off the days in which they are offering these available and get more information and contact their number to reserve a spot. In April, when weather hopefully will be better than this gloomy slog that we've had.
It's going to be raining.
No, stop that. Don't you be blaspheming April. As part of one of their events that they have during the year, the WDRC on April 20th, 420 if you will, has the annual Bellingham Bay Bocce tournament.
Bocce!
That's right, bocce
Molto
ball.
bene.
Exactly. So, this is a big thing, and it's a region-wide type tournament. If you're down with bocce ball, check this out. This may be right up your alley. And also in April, they will be having some workshops available for people to sign up for understanding conflict. I don't understand conflict that well. I'm a bit of a hothead. In a lot of cases, I'm like Anger from Inside Out.
Oh, yeah,
that
totally.
character that blows his top all the time. That's me. And so it has a chance to be able to understand a little bit more about how the conflicts occur. This may be something that you might be considering a couple months down the horizon.
Cool.
So give them a check. Give them a check out on the website, whatcomdrc.org.
Awesome.
All right, let's wrap this thing up.
That wraps up for this edition of the Bellingham Podcast. Thank you again so much for listening to us, rating us, reviewing us, wherever you like to get your podcast. Remember, if you're in the Bellingham area, you might be listening to us on KMRE 102.3 FM.
Load power.
Community radio here in the heart of the city of subdued excitement.
I didn't have a cute hook at that time.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
On that note, thank you, Miss Moonwater, for being on the show. I'm AJ Barce.
And I'm Chris Powell. Thank you for listening in on the Bellingham Podcast.
True story, I still need to watch Inside Out.
It's a wonderful show for all ages. I am Anger.